So the new rules will come into force after the next general election, as I mentioned. Let's speak to one of our MPs who've employed their partners. This is the Lewis MP, Maria Caulfield. Hello, Maria.
Good morning.
Hi there, thanks for coming on this morning. So after the next election, you'll still be okay, assuming you get re-elected, because if you're currently doing this, then you can continue. So that's good news for you.
Yeah, well, the rules say that it will just apply to new MPs, so, yeah.
What does your other half, Steve, do for you?
So he works in the office, mainly based in New Haven, although he does come up and do some of the tours around Westminster when we've got big groups coming up to have a visit around the House of Commons and the House of Lords. But he mainly works in the office in New Haven. He runs my diary. He manages the office in terms of managing the bills, making sure rent's paid on time, electricity's paid on time, that we've got enough paper for the office. And he supports the other members of staff in the team that work there as well. So he also accompanies me to most of my visits, particularly in the evening. So I do a lot of visits to, say, parish council meetings, community groups. They'll often go off on till about 9-10 o'clock at night. So he's out with me, and at weekends, every Saturday, I'm usually at village events or fetes or sports days, and he comes along with me at those, because security in Westminster now are advising MPs never to go out on their own. And I work 18, 19-hour days, and to expect an average employee to be working those hours 6-7 days a week, is unreasonable. So really, as your partner, they come out and go above and beyond the hours that you would expect a regular employee to work.
Yeah, and I want to be clear, there's no insinuation here at all that you're doing anything wrong, because you're well within the rules as they are at the moment.
Absolutely, yes.
But that will change in the future. So actually it might be tricky for MPs after the next election, because it sounds like he's doing more than he's getting paid for.
Yeah, no, and he makes that point very clearly nearly every day to me, because I didn't start off with Steve working in the office for me, but employees of MPs are pretty lowly paid. So it's around £20,000 to £25,000 a year, and the average turnover, most employees stay with you for 6 months. So there's a huge turnover of MP staff for all MPs cross-party, and you really do need someone who's going to be there for the long haul. And so, Steve, especially when the security issues arise, and I was getting death threats, and the office was being sent messages and graffiti on the office and tyre slash. He left a very well-paid job to come and work for me. So he took more than a half pay cut to come and work for me. So it's difficult working for MPs. And as an MP, you really do need someone who's going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah, but also in most jobs, there would have to be an interview process for the job. So is that part of the reason why the people who run Parliament are concerned?
Well, there is an interview process. So we have access to HR facilities in Westminster, and I've got an advert out at the moment for a member of staff, and you get quite a lot of applications because lots of young people want to work.
Sounds like too much like hard work for me, to be honest with you.
But also, it's very hard to get someone who wants to just work in the constituency. So lots of people want to work for an MP, but in Westminster, and actually the bulk of the workload is down in the constituency, doing surgeries and going out to meet community groups and writing back and to local residents. So, once people realise that is actually what the job is involved, a lot of people drop out. So you do have an interview process, but, and Steve was interviewed as well, and his skills coming from the construction industry and managing projects and making sure bills are paid on time and that sort of thing, is essential. And it's very hard to get someone with a lot of experience into the office. And so, I completely agree an interview process should be run. But, Steve still would have come quite high up on that list.
OK, I'll just say what Karen Ansell, the Eastbourne MP, has said to us today. She couldn't to make it on air, but says, "I'm more than happy to state my husband works many more hours than he's paid for, and if there is an abuse of my position by employing him, then it's actually the sheer amount of work that he does. And I'm a bit puzzled how MPs are able to vote for war or Brexit, but they can't be trusted to deal with staff salaries." So that's what Caroline says.
Yeah, and also Caroline, you know, she met her husband Nick at work when she was a teacher. They both worked at the same school. And, you know, I know as a nurse that there's many doctors who marry other doctors, nurses who marry other doctors, and other nurses. So, you know, meeting people at work is a norm, and getting married or being in a relationship is quite commonplace. And if we're going to say, you know, if the rules are applied across the board, you know, you'd never have had Richard and Judy. You wouldn't have Eamon Holmes and his wife presenting this morning. So there's lots of examples of husbands and wives and partners working together. And I just think it's a bit odd that they've picked on MPs to say that we can't be trusted to employ family members.
Yeah, I can imagine you feeling that way. What's it like working together? I'm just, because what you said earlier about the kind of the level of scrutiny you're under and some of the things that have been said to you and the threats that have come your way. How does in your relationship, how do you and Steve talk about that? Because I mean, that's pretty offensive stuff coming your way, and Steve must feel very protective towards you.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that, you know, he wanted to, when there was a vacancy in the office, that he wanted to take that on. Because, you know, again, it's not fair to expect an ordinary employee, you know, to be out with you at 10 o'clock at night. And, you know, I broke down in a couple of villages in the early days of being an MP with no phone signal, and I was having to walk a mile to knock on someone's door saying, can I borrow your phone to call someone to restart my car? And he was very, you know, insistent that that wasn't right. And you can't expect someone who's 21, 22 to be out with you, you know, late at night and be your only source of defence. You know, if something happens to me and something happens to Steve, you know, we're a team and we take that on the chin. I don't think that's really very fair to expect an ordinary employee to be in those risky situations as well. And that was part of the reason that he wanted to work for me.
So why have IPSA, the Parliamentary Watchdog, done this, do you think? Are there other MPs who are kind of bending the rules slightly by putting down a spouse, a partner or a child that actually isn't doing very much but taking a salary? Is that what they're trying to wheedle out?
Well, I mean, they've made it very clear to us that they've not found any examples of partners or relatives working for an MP where they're not actually working but they're claiming pay. So they couldn't pinpoint one example at all. And I know many MPs who employ their partners for similar reasons to me. And Caroline's in the same situation. You know, and Nick works very long hours accompanying her to visits for similar reasons. But I think because of the expensive scandal many years ago, I think IPSA feel that the image of MPs still isn't where it should be, and that this would go one step further forward to addressing that.
Yeah, they say it's out of step with modern employment practices. Well, maybe in a job that is publicly funded like that, I think maybe in other businesses for self-employed people who run shops, it's not out of the ordinary.
Well, I know many GPs in the constituency, for example, who are husband and wife partners, and, you know, they're publicly funded.
Yes.
So, you know, it's not that unusual. And one of the things that I find a bit strange in the new rules for new MPs is that if you employ an office manager and then you further down the line you get into a relationship with them, you actually have to sack them. And for me, that
just going to go down well.
That seems, you know, I do think that's a bit unfair, because most of us, you know, meet people at work. You know,
it can happen, can't it?
It can happen, and to one of you then to have to decide, well, you've got to go and can no longer work for me, even though you've got the skills and the experience to do the job you're doing, I think is slightly unfair.
Okay. Thanks for chatting to us, Maria. I'm sure you'll be busy this weekend in the constituency.
Absolutely, yes, out and about. I mean, Plumpton, Alfriston and Lewis tomorrow, so hopefully you'll see lots of people out and about, and hopefully we'll have some sunshine too tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it looks all right for the weekend. Thanks, Maria. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.